The Indians got some clutch hitting from Trevor Crow to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Orioles. Tonight, the Tribe looks for Michael Brantley to continue setting the table at the top of the order as the new-look Seattle Mariners come to town for 3. Fausto Carmona goes for win number 12 on Friday the 13th. Next on Sports Time Ohio. A hot, humid night in downtown Cleveland as the Tribe welcomes in the Seattle Mariners for the first time this year here at Progressive Field. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. These are two teams really in transition. The Indians, of course, have had a lot of turnover player-wise. The Mariners, on the other hand, have turned over pretty much their entire coaching staff in the past week. You look at the Cleveland Indians, though, right now, Rick, offensively, Michael Brantley starting to get his feet under him, really swinging the bat well.
Well, starting to get comfortable in that leadoff spot. He had a terrific night last night. He picked on a couple of curveballs, kept his hands back nicely. He ended up getting 4 hits last night and finding the holes. And I think that comes with a little confidence now. The third time he's been up here this year, it's about time he's going to have to step up and take the bull by the horns in that leadoff spot. As I said, 4 for 5 for the second time in his career. He did have a stolen base, and since his recall, he's done a nice job.
All right, for the Tribe tonight on the mound, it will be Fausto Carmona, and he is really starting to come into his own, I think, as an ace of the staff, because you watch him go out and pitch, you feel like the Indians are going to win when he takes the mound right now.
Well, for Fausto Carmona, I think Manny Acta could use a pitcher, a starting pitcher that's going to give him 7 innings, and this is the team to do it against. Seattle, they struggle to score runs. They are last in the league, and Carmona, a ground ball machine when he's on top of his game. Do not walk any of these guys. They can steal bases, but for Fausto Carmona, 2-1 in his career against the Mariners. He will be going up against David Pauly, making his 6th start. He is looking for his first win.
All right, so it's the Indians and the Mariners tonight here at Progressive Field. We'll be back with all the play-by-play action coming up next. Indians and the Mariners are about to start a 3-game weekend series. New Seattle manager Darren Brown at the helm now. And former Indians pitching coach Carl Willis taking over now as the Mariners pitching coach. He had been working in the minor leagues. Fausto Carmona, meanwhile, will be on the hill for the Tribe tonight as the Indians try to make it back-to-back wins. And for Carmona, he is looking for his 12th win on the season. Indians take the field, looking for win number 49 on the season. And let's look at the Mariners starting lineup tonight. Ichiro Suzuki leads off. He's the right fielder. Then it's Sean Figgins, followed by Russell Branyan. Jose Lopez batting cleanup. Former Indian outfielder Franklin Gutierrez is batting 5th. Then it's Casey Kochman, followed by Adam Moore, Michael Saunders, and Josh Wilson.
Tonight's starting pitcher brought to you by the Indians Team Shops, where you'll get 2 free mezzanine tickets for any game when you spend $50. It's Fausto Carmona. towing the rubber for the 24th time. His record 11-9, 145 and a third innings pitched, 142 hits given up. He has 80 strikeouts. Now, in his last start against the Mariners, it came last August 23rd right here in Cleveland when he beat Felix Hernandez and the Mariners. He went 7 innings, 5 hits, gave up 1 run. There was a 6-1 win. In his career, he is 2-1 against the Mariners, and we'll see if he can add to that tonight. Let's check out the Taco Bell Indians defensive lineup. In the outfield from left to right, it's going to be Crow, Brantley, and Chu. On the infield from third to first, Valbuena, Cabrera, Donald, and Marte. Behind the plate tonight, it's going to be Chris Jimenez. And when you're making a choice for late night, Taco Bell is a late night place to be.
Eric Cooper will call the balls and strikes. The crew chief, Mike Riley, is at first. Chad Fairchild at second. And Todd Titchener is umpiring at third. So here we go. Fausto Carmona to face Ichiro Suzuki to get us underway here tonight. And the first pitch of the ball game is in there for a called strike. You see the numbers for Suzuki, a .310 batting average. 23 doubles to go along with 2 triples on the year. Back by the mound. Cabrera has to hurry. Not in time. An infield single for Ichiro Suzuki to start the ball game.
Well, he leads the majors in infield hits. That's number 39 for Suzuki. And as a shortstop, you have to realize that I'm sure they cheat in. I'd like to see where Cabrera started at. But you know, with Suzuki, he just slaps the ball the other way, and he lets his legs do the talking. I'm not sure. You see, he just puts it in play. Once it gets by the mound, he beats it out. Wow. Infield hit number 39.
That was about as close to a dead heat as you will see. So he's at first with 28 stolen bases on the year, and now Sean Figgins.
When you look at career numbers, too, Matt, that's 496 career infield hits for him.
Well, that's always has been his game. Slap it, hit it on the ground.
He can bunt. You're right. And he goes the other way. He forces that defense to play shallow.
And the way he swings, he's already running to first base the minute he makes contact. 2 balls and no strikes to count here for Figgins. He has been a lightning rod for the Mariners and their failures this year. Signed the big free agent contract. And the .253 average far below expectations. He had a much publicized blow-up in the dugout with former manager Don Wakamatsu.
Well, this is a guy that you heard nothing but good things about when he played with the Angels. Mm-hmm. And now, since he's been with Seattle, it's tough to find anybody saying anything good about him. And how does it change like that? Because he was really a catalyst for that Angels club, wasn't he? He played anywhere, second, short, played outfield, played third base. He was at the top of that lineup, and you felt that the Angels would miss him, which they do. But you can't unseat Ichiro in that leadoff spot, I guess, in Seattle.
Swing and a miss. And no throw by Jimenez. Ichiro with his 29th stolen base. Well, you almost wonder, too, with Figgins, Rick, if it didn't come down to a situation where in Anaheim, he just had to go out and play, do his job.
Right.
All of a sudden, he signs the big free agent contract. He's the new guy in town, and now there are these expectations, and he's in the spotlight. And so it was probably a case where, for the first time in his career, he had a lot of people looking at him to be the guy. Marte with the flip. He'll have to hurry. Carmona beats Figgins to the bag for out number 1. And Ichiro Suzuki moves over to third. That'll bring up Russell Brandon, who started the year with the Tribe after spending last year in Seattle. And then the Mariners took him back in a trade this season. And Brandon with Seattle has hit just .211. On the year, a .245 average, including his time with the Tribe. 14 home runs, 35 runs batted in. And he looks at ball one. Carmona wants a new baseball. The Indians employing the shift. 3 on the right side for Russell.
Well, and that's exactly how you have to play him, because his approach is he's all or nothing. He's going to get after it. You find that happy zone with him, he hits it a long way.
And a strike is called. 1-1 the count. One of the reasons people wonder, why would the Mariners want Brandon back if they didn't re-sign him to begin with? Well, offensively, they've been so starved this year. They're looking for any kind of offensive production they can get. And they will take the early 1-0 lead as Brandon drives home Suzuki with the RBI groundout. Brandon's 36th run batted in. And the stolen base definitely helps to pay dividends here in the first. What's alarming about Seattle in their run-scoring problems is how many times they've been held at 2 runs or less.
It is
year.
scary. 54
I know. Times, and that's staggering.
Well, now we know the Indians' offense has been, held down for the most of the year. 54 times they've been held to 3 or less, but they have 54 for 2 or less and 70 for 3 or less.
Yeah.
And their ballpark, it's a good park to pitch in. It's not conducive for offense. Although, you might be able to find some base hits and things there. Long ball's tough to hit there. Good park to pitch in. But, boy, oh boy, you have to score in this league to win.
Jose Lopez.
They even struggled when they had Cliff Lee and Hernandez in that starting rotation at the same time.
Weekly hit to third. Valbuena throws him out and the inning is over. But the infield hit by Ichiro Suzuki pays early dividends. Seattle leads at 1-0 as the Indians come to bat. And the Indians starting lineup is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive is proud to be the official auto insurance provider of the Cleveland Indians. Michael Brantley, fresh off a 4-hit performance in the leadoff spot, followed by Asdrubal Cabrera and Shin-Soo Choo. Jordan Brown, the rookie, will DH. Trevor Crow, well, he was productive in the 5-hole last night, so run him back out there again batting fifth. Andy Marte, Luis Valbuena, Jason Donald, and Chris Jimenez.
27-year-old David Pauly making his sixth start this year. He's looking for his first win. Of course, he has never faced the Indians before. His fourth start against the Central, where he is 0-3 and an ERA of 5.
Outside for ball one to Brantley. Michael with 6 hits in his last 12 at-bats. 4 runs scored. And since getting called back on August the 6th, he's played in 6 games and he's scored a total of 7 runs.
Well, and he's a very patient guy at the plate, too. He's going to make that pitcher work, and I think that's a good idea for this guy, never facing him before. He has walked 11 in just 29 and a third innings, so you've got to make this guy get in the strike zone, especially never seeing him before.
Get me over fastball, makes the count 3-1. And that'll run it out to full. 3 balls, 2 strikes for Indians leadoff man Michael Brantley. Pauly's payoff pitch. And Brantley, a line drive to right. Suzuki has it, 1 away.
Let's check out the Mariners defense presented by Huntington Bank. It's Saunders, Gutierrez, and Ichiro in the outfield. It's Lopez, Wilson, Figgins, and Kochman on the infield with more behind the plate. They have made 79 errors. They are rated 11th in the league. They have turned 106 double plays.
As Dribble Cabrera looks at a first pitch strike. He's hit in 3 straight games now. 7 hits in his last 21 at-bats on the homestand. And it's quickly 0-2. Spun him out of the way.
David Pauly grew up in the Padres organization. Was signed there, then was traded to Boston with outfielder Jay Payton, Ramon Vasquez, for Dave Roberts. That was back in 2004.
Right-hander has Cabrera down to the count, a ball and 2 strikes. And a one-hopper that eats up Figgins. And Cabrera will beat it out. Ruled a base hit, so the Indians have 1 on with 1 out here in the first.
Yeah, that's that line drive where Figgins held his ground, and, you know, it was sort of that in-between hop. And you can see he thought he was going to be able to catch it in the air, and if you don't come in on it, that short hop's going to get you. It'll go as a base hit. I think he laid back on that ball, and that's when you decide to lay back because it wasn't a hard hit line drive. It had a little hump back to it. So Cabrera on with a base hit.
Chu with a ground ball single up the middle. Cabrera will not run on Gutierrez's arm. He stops at second. And the Indians have 2 on with 1 out.
Now, that's something to get Chu going. He's been struggling a little bit lately, but there's that base hit right back up the middle. So you get back-to-back singles. Pair of runners on here in the first.
So here we go, Jordan Brown. Batting cleanup here tonight for the Indians. You know, Rick, it was interesting when you look back earlier in this year. Carlos Santana comes to the big leagues, makes his debut. batting third. And we mentioned at the time that not many rookies get a chance to debut in the middle of the lineup. And here's Jordan Brown. This is only his 9th game.
Well, we've seen a lot of lineups that Manny has to fill out that lineup card and hit somebody 3rd, 4th, and 5th every day. And his options are minimal. I mean, when you look at the guys that have been out of the lineup, I mean, you can honestly plug Cabrera and Chu in there in the 2 and 3 holes, and then you can pick out of a hat. Because they're not legit. I mean, as far as track records go. So he has got to go out there and he's got to put guys in that spot and see what they can do. That's why Crow last night hit 5th, got a couple RBIs, and he's going to plug them right back in there again tonight.
A couple of guys who've batted cleanup for the Indians of late, both sitting this one out tonight. Shelley Duncan there. And also we have seen Matt Laporta bat cleanup.
And he's getting the night off because he struggled in his last series. And then you had guys like Kearns, he's gone. And you mentioned Santana.
Hafner's on the DL.
Hafner's on the DL. So you have no middle of the lineup hitters.
2-1, big bouncer to first. Kochman takes it himself, 2 down. Cabrera goes to third. Chu to second. And here's our great clip of the game, brought to you by Great Clips. Trevor Crow batting 5th for the first time in his career. Beat out an infield single to drive in a run early. And then later on in the ball game, he busted this one big time. Deep to center for a double, driving in another run. Relax. You're at Great Clips.
Well, here he is again in the first inning with 2nd and 3rd and 2 outs. Exactly what happened last night when he got that infield single. He's a .324 hitter with runners in scoring position.
He takes the first pitch strike. He has done a tremendous job driving in runners. And he's got a chance to get the Indians on the board here, down a run. Good off-speed pitch had him out in front. 0-2 the count. David Pauly grew up in Longmont, Colorado, before he was drafted in the 8th round in 2001 by the Padres. 2-strike pitch. In off the plate. And as Rick told you, he went to the Red Sox as part of the Dave Roberts deal. Interesting, it was the scout who signed and scouted him and signed him with the Padres was with the Red Sox when they made that trade. So obviously he had some insight.
Little track record and saying, hey, this would be a good guy to get.
Now the 1-2. Struck him out looking. Indians strand a pair. 1-0 Seattle after 1. Continental Airlines. Work hard, fly right. And by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. Seattle with a 1-zip lead. Second inning, Franklin Gutierrez will lead it off for the Mariners. Former Indians outfielder takes a strike. Comes in batting .250. 10 homers, 48 runs driven in on the year for Seattle. Lifts a pop, foul, and into the seats.
Well, there's a guy we know, grew up in the Indians organization, an outstanding defender. His average down a little bit this year, but this guy can play the game. Real soft-spoken, quiet guy, but a lot of talent. And he can, I'll tell you what, anytime you watch the highlights, you see this guy running them down in Safeco Field in Seattle, or anywhere for that matter.
You know, it's interesting, I guess, the way baseball works out, how small it is. Franklin Gutierrez came to the Indians, part of the Milton Bradley trade originally, and winds up teammates with Bradley here in Seattle. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, one down. Carmona's first K brings up Casey Kochman. Sunday night on STO, join Bruce Drennan for a primetime edition of All Bets Are Off at 7. Then at 9, golf pro Jimmy Hanlon gets you up to date on the PGA Tour while taking your calls and emails. All Bets Are Off and the Golf Zone Sunday night starting at 7 right here on STO. I wonder if Jimmy will wear those polka dot pants I saw him on the other.
Did you see that? I saw those, yeah.
That was bold.
Only he can pull it off.
That's right.
Takes a real man to wear pants like that. I don't think my wife would let me out of the door with them on. She wouldn't let me in the door with them on.
Maybe Jimmy gets dressed in the garage.
He's got his own room. Either that or you can leave him at the golf, at the club.
There's the 1-1 pitch. Whatever we can't sell, just put it in my office. We kid, but he's tremendous at what he does when it comes to teaching the game of golf, breaking it down, making it simple.
He sure does. I got to get him. We got to get him a new putter. We got to get him a new putter. He's got that glass slipper he uses.
The 1-2. Big bouncer towards second. Jason Donald. A little flip, 2 down. And Fausto Carmona has retired 5 straight since the infield single by Ichiro to start the game.
Well, and unfortunately, they're all ground balls other than the strikeout. And even Ichiro's single was a ground ball on the infield.
Catcher Adam Moore looks at the ball inside. Takes a strike there. Moore was a 6th-round pick of the Mariners back in 2006 out of Texas. One ball, 2 strikes.
Well, you can see how tough it is for right-handers to try and get those hands through there. That's a pitch, that sinker from Carmona that you better try and go to right field.
Down low, evens the count at 2-2. Adam Moore originally attended the University of Nebraska, and then he transferred to the University of Texas Arlington. Led them to the Southland Conference tournament title in 2006. That's when the Mariners drafted him. He goes down swinging, and Seattle goes down 1-2-3. Middle of inning number 2, 1-0 Mariners. Jason Donald due up for the Tribe.
The video games. They're not watching the baseball game.
Here's the wide of the pitch, and Andy Marte takes a strike. David Pauly misses down low. Ground ball to third, backhanded by Lopez. Throws him out, one away. Now, before the ball game tonight, at around 6 o'clock, so 1 hour before game time, fans had a chance to meet Mitch Talbot, Indians starting pitcher, and Matt Laporta. They were signing autographs for the fans who happen to be here at the park right when the gates open at 6 o'clock. Look forward to seeing Mitch Talbot coming off the disabled list. He'll be back pitching for the Tribe tomorrow against Jason Vargas in Game 2 of this series. Luis Valbuena batting 169. Got a piece, 1-1. Valbuena, this is his 9th game since getting called back at the end of July. He's gone 5 for 26. Valbuena, Nix, and Andy Marte have been splitting the time at third base. One ball, 2 strikes.
Well, that's going to be a spot that they're going to have to find somebody to play third. Except, now you've got a couple kids in the minor leagues they haven't looked at yet, and possibly before this year is over they could. You got Goddard down there who's having a nice year.
Struck him out. Second strikeout for David Pauly, 2 down. Well, yeah, I mean, Jared Goddard is a guy who I think wasn't necessarily a frontline on the radar screen guy, but he's put up numbers this year. He's had a solid year, so he's definitely going to warrant a look-see. And of course, Lonnie Chisenhall is right behind him. He's the former top pick, and that's a guy that's progressed quickly through the organization. We had a chance to see him in spring training, and definitely looks like he's going to be somebody we'll be watching in the future.
But I mean, these are the 3 we're looking at now that you mentioned. You know, when you look at Nix, Marte, and Valbuena. But there's still a couple down there in the minor leagues. And, you know, maybe September, depending if they have to be put on that 40-man.
You know, it's funny, Rick, when I was talking with longtime Seattle broadcaster Rick Riz before the game, he said, are you guys going to have a slew of September call-ups? And then he stopped and said, or are they already here? Well, when you have injuries and make a lot of trades, you end up with a lot of young players.
You know what's so funny? This is the first time we played Seattle this year, and you don't hear anything about them. I mean, other than if you try and follow them on the news because they're so far away. And, you know, they haven't heard anything about us, obviously, because we have called up everybody we possibly can call up.
Jason Donald turns first, going to dig for 2. The throw by Saunders, not in time. A head-first dive for Jason Donald. It's a 2-out double, his 17th 2-bagger of the year. Jason Donald, too, Rick, is one of those players that just continues to grow on you. He's gritty.
Yeah, he plays hard, man. That's one thing you like. You know, and he is going to, I'll tell you when he accepts the speed of the game up here and it's not all out and he knows when to turn it on and back it off, he's going to be just fine. Right there is a great job to get into scoring position with 2 outs.
And now let's see if Chris Jimenez can get him home. Jimenez 0 for his last 10. It's a drive deep to left field. Saunders back. It's off the wall. Donald will score. Jimenez digging for 2. He dives in safely. The number 9 man, Chris Jimenez, with his second double of the year. A jolt to left field. Ties the game at 1.
Well, Chris Jimenez pitching in now. 2-out base hit. This is going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. Got a ball out over the plate that he liked, and he drives it off the wall. So a pair of back-to-back doubles with 2 outs ties this ball game up at 1.
Down to the dirt now to Michael Brantley, who lined out to right field his first time up. Indians have already wrapped out 4 hits, and they've come back to tie it up. And a strike is called to even the count.
Brantley in his 5 at-bats last night saw 29 pitches. And 6 in his first at-bat tonight. Went to the full count before lining out. You know, once he gets to know some of the pitchers here in this league and situations like that, he'll be able to know when he's going to get that first pitch fastball, maybe get aggressive early in the count at some times. And other times, you like to be patient, see what a guy throws.
Fouls it off. As a team on this homestand, the Indians have batted .296 with a runner in scoring position and 2 out. We've talked at length this year about how often they have scored with 2 men out. Almost 40% of their total runs have been scored with 2 outs. 1-2 pitch. So that trend continuing. And right now, if Brantley can come up with another 2-out knock, they've got a chance to take the lead. Although Chris Jimenez is by no means a burner, the runner at second base. Swung on and missed, and the inning is over. Tribe comes back with a run to tie it after 2. 1-1 our score. Game and see our Miller taste greatness moment. Nice crowd on hand here tonight at Progressive Field. Looks like we'll be over 20,000 with big fireworks show coming up after the ball game.
That's right. Rock and Blast 1 taking place tonight.
Also want to remind you, coming up, we're going to be visited by former Indian Pat Tabler here in the booth. He's in town with a number of Indians alumni.
Oh, that's good. Tabby broadcast the Toronto Blue Jay games.
Must be on a little bit of a respite.
Yes, indeed. Well, he was when we were there. that weekend. We're going to ask him when he works. Or does he just travel the country during the summer and enjoy?
You know, when you hit with the bases loaded like he did, you get more time off. It's just the way it works.
You drive Cadillacs when you hit with the bases loaded.
0-2 the count. I just read a quote the other day that, and it was attributed. I didn't realize this because I'd always heard that. Home run hitters drive Cadillacs.
You've never
Singles
heard that?
hitters drive Fords. Ralph Kiner. That's attributed to Ralph Kiner, who was a big home run hitter back in the 50s.
Right.
And then a longtime broadcaster with the Mets. I didn't realize that was his quote.
Absolutely. Home run hitters drive Cadillacs, man.
Singles hitters drive Fords. Here's the 0-2. A little bit high.
Well, that's a long time. That's old school.
Ralph Kiner was longtime voice of the New York Mets. And he was noted to have a few slip-ups every once in a while, get words mixed up, confused. But one of his all-time great quotes, and you'll appreciate this, as the 2-2 pitch is grounded to second base. Jason Donald will throw him out. He said, 2/3 of the earth is covered by water. Gary Maddox covers the other third. The old outfielder from Philadelphia.
That's pretty good.
All right, tonight's AT&T trivia question. AT&T Rethink Possible. 4 active players have a career average of .325 or higher. Can you name them? 4 active players, career average .325 or better. With a minimum of, what was that, 3,000 plate appearances?
I didn't see that.
Well, you have to figure Ichiro Suzuki's one of them. That's the Mike Pacta's way. That's the gimme. He always has a gimme. I give you an easy one.
Well, yeah.
Let's see if you can get the rest.
He'll give you one. Well, I think we've got to look at another guy. Well played, Mauer.
Well played. Grounded to third, Valbuena. A little high with the throw. Marte, did he come down on the bag? Yes, he did, says Mike Riley, and that's out number 2.
Well, the veteran ump was right there, man. He moved his feet, got in a position. He saw it. The throw was a little high, brought Marte off, but Mike Riley, he'd been around a long time, and he was right there to see it.
Tonight's achievement of the game is brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in us all.
Well, this stat right there is going to tell you that guy there is over 325, 200 hits in each of his first 9 years.
I remember when Carlos Baerga did it in a couple seasons, it was a big deal. And that's 9.
Well, he's on pace for 208, I think, right now. So he usually gets hot in August and September.
Well, he's 2 for 2 already tonight.
You know, this guy's been known to get 50 hits in a month, and he has in the past, but this time it's a bullet. He stayed back and drove that sinker.
Is he a tougher matchup for a guy like Carmona because he has that, seems like he's always swinging down on the ball, can hit the low pitch very well?
Yeah, I would think so, because you like to try and pitch him in. Even though he likes to flare everything, you got to make him conscious in, and don't let him move his feet because he's on the run. If you can get him to hit the ball in the air, you're doing something very good. But if you make him conscious in, because he'll slap that ball like he did his first time, and then you throw him that sinker away, and he hit it hard the next time.
With 2 outs, Figgins was showing bunt, but pulled it back.
I think he's going to say, Ichiro, go ahead and steal a base, man. With 2 outs, and Carmona has given up 25 stolen bases out of 30 attempts, and Ichiro got him in the first inning. Why not run early?
He's not running. And Figgins lines it towards center. Brantley on the move, makes the catch. He covers a lot of ground as well. And the Mariners are out in the third. We are tied at 1. Progressive Field. And for the Tribe is Drupal Cabrera, Shin Soo Choo, Jordan Brown due up. Through the first 2 innings, David Pauly has thrown 7 balls and 13 strikes in each of the first 2 innings.
Ooh.
And it's Friday the 13th. Could it be something weird is happening here tonight?
Yeah.
His name is Tom Boschini.
He's got a new box of crayons up there tonight. He does, too. I brought him some. Show him, Bo. You did not.
Where are they?
He's already got them tucked in his bag. Look at it.
Here's the 0-2, and it's outside. Let me see those.
That's
here, guys.
perfect. I'm telling you, there it is. It's 24 Crayolas, man.
That's what he uses.
Yes, he will.
I thought you were going to get the big box.
Not yet.
One with the
He'll be
built-in,
through those by the weekend. I'll get him a big box for
one that
September.
has the built-in crayon sharpener in it.
Yeah. He already has that.
David Pauly with the 2-2. And it's full count. The payoff. And a line drive towards left field. Saunders has that for out number 1.
Had him played perfectly.
Back to the studios for an in-game update. Al Pulaski has the latest on the Baltimore Orioles and the Tampa Bay Rays playing throwback baseball.
And yes, indeed, Matt and Rick into the first inning here. Adam Jones doubles in 2. But check out these jerseys for the Orioles. The all-oranges they wore twice in 1971. And I thought the Indians all-red 75s were loud.
Well, they're working. They're up 3-0 now. I never saw those before. The pants.
1971.
Yeah. Boog was there, and then Brooks. I never saw all orange like that.
So Boog went from the big pumpkin to the big tomato.
The big pumpkin, I guess. Yeah. That was a real big pumpkin.
2-1 pitch to Chu. 50 pitches now on the day for Pauly. 3-1 for strikes. Chu's single in the first stopped an 0 for 10 slump for him. He hasn't had many of those.
Well, and realize he was hit on the hand last night. That may have something to do with it. He's got to be sore. He's been plunked on the knee. He was hit in Boston, and you just keep going through that, but he plays through it.
2 down.
Well, if you're not here tonight and have a chance to see Rock and Blast 1, you certainly have an opportunity to catch it tomorrow because it's on an encore presentation. That'll be Rock and Blast 2 following the ball game, and it is a terrific fireworks show. It lasts about a half an hour, and I mean to tell you, it is one of the best ever. They've been taking 2 days to get ready for this one. So come on out to the ballpark. Middle game of a series. Mitch Talbot will be back off the DL pitching. Should be a good night.
Jordan Brown steps in, takes a strike. Grounded to first his first time up. And a hard ground ball. Diving stop by Kochman. The underhand flip is in time. And the Indians go 1-2-3. 3 complete. We're tied at 1. Russell Brandon leads off the fourth inning with a high drive deep to left. Crow is back. He's out of room, and it's high off the wall. And into second base with a stand-up double is Russell Brandon. He didn't miss by much. Brandon's 15th two-bagger of the year. Sinker that found the middle of the plate.
Well, a low ball hitter, too. Now, remember, Brandon loves that pitch down. He's got that slight uppercut. So if you get it down there, you better make it sure it's in, very good, or away, sinking away. That was middle, and it went high off the wall.
Yeah, it was above the scoreboard, the built-in scoreboard, and didn't miss by much, but he's at second base. Jose Lopez, a ground out his first time up, showing bunt, took a ball up high.
It's the last time you saw a number 4 hitter sacrificing or trying to square around.
We've seen a lot of strange things this year, or at least the things that break the normal mode of thinking.
You know, I understand they struggle to score runs. They're last in the league. They have scored just 371 runs. But, I mean, you get a lead-off double, man, and you're hitting fourth. You don't move them over. You try and drive them in. Somewhere along the line, there's some power hitters in their grave rolling over right now.
3 balls and a strike to Lopez. There's a liner to second. It's caught by Donald. But Brandon was able to hold his ground. One away for Franklin Gutierrez. Before he steps in, let's look at our Subway fresh face of the game. Good to see Carlos Carrasco back pitching. 6 innings, 3 hits, only 1 run allowed. Didn't walk a batter and punched out 8. Our Subway fresh face of the game. Subway, play hard, eat fresh. Ground ball up the middle. Donald is there. He'll throw out Gutierrez. 2 down. Brandon slides over to third. That'll bring up Casey Kochman, who grounded out to second base his first time up. And a tapper off the glove of Carmona. Cabrera can't come up with it cleanly, and the Mariners take the lead. Well, with a ricochet, you know, and I'm not so sure that Donald might not have had a better crack at it, but Cabrera had all that momentum going toward the ball.
It had some spin on it, too, because it went off the glove of Carmona. And that thing was spinning right there, and it looked like it went off the end of the glove of Cabrera. You see, there it is going off the finger of the glove of Carmona, and it's going to spin. And actually, when you're going that way, it was spinning towards Cabrera. Could have made that play if he catches it. He would have made it, and he's upset he didn't. I just think that ball had more spin on it than he realized.
And Adam Moore looks at a first pitch strike. Struck out his first time up. So 2 infield hits for the Mariners tonight. And they have directly led to Seattle runs. There's a solid liner to center field. Now Brantley playing it on the bounce. And the Mariners with 3 hits now here in the 4th inning off Fausto Carmona, the last 2 coming with 2 outs. And it brings up Michael Saunders.
Well, he leaves a slider middle of the plate. And that's why it gets hit hard. Short line drive stroke. He tied him up the first time, went inside with that good sinker, but he left one out over the plate for him that time.
And there's another base hit into right field. Kochman coming around third, going to be waved home. Chu's throw to the plate, and he is out by plenty. Holy smokes, somebody forgot to give the Mariners third base coach the scouting report on Chu's rifle. We go to the bottom of the 4th, 2-1 Seattle. Lead for the Tribe, Trevor Crowe, Andy Marte, and Luis Valbuena. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you as always, and joined now by Pat Tabler, who currently sometimes handles the television duties for the Toronto Blue Jays. But we didn't see you when we were in Toronto, and obviously you've got a little time off now. Great to see you back here in Cleveland.
Great to be back. It always is. This is like a second home for me. I live right down the street in Cincinnati, and it's always great to get back to Cincinnati.
Bobby brought you in for the weekend?
Nate.
Well, okay. Nate, yeah, big Nate.
It was Nate. Nate
right.
did it.
Trevor Crowe, bouncing ball to first base. Casey Kochman will take it himself. It's been an interesting year for Toronto. We just were up in Canada on our last road trip, and the Blue Jays have had an incredible year hitting the long ball. But they haven't been able to score otherwise, and it's kind of a feast or famine offense.
50% of the runs come from a home run. And Cito Gaston said that their team is going to be built on home runs. And it's amazing what that team does. You know how hard it is to hit a home run.
Yeah, it is. Very hard.
And night after night after night, they're doing it. It's incredible.
How about Bautista's having a year? I mean, the most he ever hit before was, 16?
16.
He's got 36 now, right?
36 yesterday. They keep trying to throw fastballs by him.
Yeah.
It ain't happening,
I'm
man.
surprised they still – I know it doesn't happen. When a guy can hit a fastball, I'm surprised he sees as many as he does.
Franklin Gutierrez runs it down in center field.
What they have going there, I think, is pretty good. They're in the American League East. You can't outspend Boston. You can't outspend New York. Tampa really knows what they're doing. They make a lot of good decisions. I think what they're doing in Toronto is they're tearing it all down and starting all over with young guys.
Yeah.
So I think they have a chance.
Well, and you'll have a new manager next year because this is Cito's last year, right?
Well, that's what he's saying, but they're doing so well.
You think he'll come back?
You know what? They told over the weekend. El Bueno gets nailed.
Is that his way of negotiating?
He said that if they asked him, he would think about it.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
so there it is. He
Door's
left the door
still open.
open.
Yeah.
I think it's still open.
Oh, I did not realize. I thought he was sayonara.
He said most probably that he would be gone, but if they asked.
It's tough to turn down a couple $1 million, isn't it?
Well, I guess I never had that chance.
I know, neither have I, but we keep trying. Hey, will they? Well, I think I'm going to come back next year. I don't know. That door's open.
Here's Jason Donald now with a runner at first and 2 down.
You're going to hang out after this inning, huh? This is too quick of an inning.
Oh, yeah.
You may have to stay on for 4 innings with these two teams. They haven't scored a lot. They have some quick innings.
Well, I'll tell you, whenever I'm doing games, there's always runs scored.
Oh, okay.
In Toronto. It's amazing.
Who do you like to watch in the game today from a defensive standpoint? Guys, infielders that really impress you.
Who I like watching play defensively. I really like watching Ichiro. He's a lot of fun to watch.
There's a ground ball hit to second. Routine play for Figgins. And the inning is over. But we'll come back and spend more time with Pat Tabler. Right now it's the Mariners 2 and the Indians 1. Fruit smoothies are now available in wild berry and strawberry banana flavors. By KeyBank. Stop in and start a conversation and unlock your possibilities. And by Panini's. Now open in Chagrin Falls, Solon, and Brunswick. Visit paninisgrill.com. 2-1, Seattle leads it, and they go to the 5th inning, get their leadoff man up. Josh Wilson promptly hit by a pitch from Fausto Carmona, so Seattle has their leadoff man aboard. And it will bring up Ichiro, who is already 2 for 2, with a couple of base hits and a run scored. And, of course, with his ability to bunt, just slap it the other way. Valbuena's drawn in at third. And Carmona misses wide. That'll send Jimenez out to the mound. Pat, wherever we go, never ceases to amaze me. Rick never gets tired of talking about, because he's asked so much about it, the perfect game that Lenny Barker threw. Or the other question, we were in Toronto and he was asked about getting the game-winning hit in front of Paul Molitor that effectively ended Molitor's hitting streak. Because he's the only guy who's ever got a game-winning hit and booed in his own ballpark.
I was there.
Yeah, you were.
I was playing first.
Tie.
I was playing first that day.
And I wonder if you ever tire of being asked about your proficiency in batting with the bases loaded. Because, game's been played a long time. There are guys who are great at it. There are guys who press and change as hitters and get overly aggressive. You flourished in those situations. What was the key? What made you so successful?
I don't get tired talking about it because it's nice to be known for something, in the game, spending some time. Look at that. Wow,
that?
Where did they find that?
Don't worry. We've got it queued up, big boy. That's ahead of Tony Gwynn.
Who?
And Mike Blowers is down there. He's over in the other
right.
booth.
Yeah, he's right next door there.
How about Jose Lopez is on that list, too, with at least 60 plate appearances.
That's pretty good, boss. You're on the top of the mountain right
there. Wow, I didn't realize that. I don't know. I don't know how it came about. You just.
Well, were you a patient hitter when you had guys on? I mean, did you go up there looking for that first fastball, or what was your philosophy when you stepped up to the plate?
My thought process was the pressure is on the pitcher, that he's got to throw strikes to me, that he's the guy who's in trouble. So I'd turn it around, and that would really give me a lot of confidence.
And that's the way I think a lot of hitters should when you get guys in scoring position. The pressure's on the guy holding the ball.
A lot of times guys, they start freaking out and they start, I've got to be perfect. You can't. You can't play that game. You can't stand in there trying to hit a fastball when the pressure is on you that much, saying I have to be perfect. It's impossible.
But to get up there and do it time and time again and come through well over 40% of the time is remarkable.
I'll tell you, the last one I had, we were in Seattle, and Randy Johnson was on the mound. It was my last year, and I knew it was going to be my last year, and it ended up being my last at-bat with the bases loaded.
Did it really?
Hit a shot down the third base line, hit the seam, bam, down into the corner, 3 runs scored. I'm at second base. It says, great, E5. I'm like, E5?
What, they hit a seam?
It went down into the corner, the whole thing. And the only time I ever called the official score, he said, that's an error on Edgar Martinez. Edgar was playing third then. And I said, there's no way. He said, if Edgar says it was a base hit, I'll change it. Went to Edgar the next day. I couldn't have caught that ball. We called him back. He said, I'm not changing it. I'm like, what is up with that?
Randy Johnson was pitching. That's what was up.
Earned runs. Those were 3 earned runs.
Earned runs. That's exactly right. Now it sinks in.
Swing and a miss. Throw to second. And a close play, but Cabrera just couldn't hang on to it. The ball and the runner arriving at the same time. Carmona gets the strikeout of Ichiro Suzuki.
So they never changed it?
They never changed it, and that would have been 40 for 80.
Wow,
for a career.
500. Well, we're going to change it on our stats.
If it was Joe Schmo throwing, maybe.
Right. Oh, it wouldn't even have been questioned.
Randy Johnson, those were 3 earned runs. They said E5.
Technically, our guys looked it up. Would have made you 44 for 88.
Oh, okay. I knew it was in the 40s.
Don't be cheating yourself. Don't sell yourself short up here. We're going to make sure we get it right.
But that's the other thing, and we talked about this a little bit, talking about the Triple Crown and how difficult it is. It hasn't been done in the American League since Yaz in 1967, and we were talking about, you might be a great average guy, but do you have enough power? If you're a power guy, do you hit for enough average? And then the RBI question is, do you get the opportunities? Are they there? And that's the thing about the bases loaded deal. You have to have the opportunities. So you had 88 chances at least.
That was one of the unbelievable things to be able to do, the Triple Crown, because it's not on you, it's on your teammates to get on base, the RBIs.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what's so amazing with the Cabreras and the Josh Hamiltons this year, that they're challenging for that, because how many infield singles is Miguel Cabrera getting?
He won't get any.
He won't get any, so he's got to rake.
Yeah, exactly.
To win the batting title.
He's going to earn every hit that he gets.
Yep, that's exactly right. Joey Votto in the National League with Cincinnati, he's a good player. Now, you probably see, I like him. He's got a chance, or an outside chance in the National League. I don't think he'll, quite hit for the home runs over there with Pujols and some of those other guys. I know, but he's a good player.
It's difficult, and it's going to be made more difficult to Cabrera with Ordonez out of the lineup.
Well, I was going to say, why? I'm surprised more teams just don't pitch around him and walk him.
Yeah.
And put him on first base, and, fine. Let the kid, Brendan Bosch, beat you.
And he's not. Lately, he's not.
No, because it's catching up to him. He has to drive him in. You take away some veterans in that lineup, it's not as easy to hit.
Runner at second for Seattle here with 1 out in the 5th. Pitch to Figgins is fouled back. Will the Rays catch the Yankees, or do you think the Yankees will win the East this year? What's your gut feeling with?
You've seen them.
Month and a half to go.
Those two teams are both outstanding.
Yeah. I'll take the Yankees. I picked the Yankees to win it. I think they're just too good all the way around. Offense and pitching.
What, they go out and get Berkman?
Yeah.
That's not fair. They go out and get Kerry Wood.
They get Kerry.
Austin Kearns.
Yeah, right.
So whenever they need anything, they can go out and get it somehow. I'm a little worried about them age-wise. They're breaking down. I mean, Andy Pettit's breaking down. And
yeah, well, you know what? He's just taking his breather now, so he'll be ready for when it comes to playoff time. Yeah, they know what they're doing. It's like when you look at the NBA, those guys don't play the last month or so, and they get ready when it's time to play for the playoffs.
So I buy into that.
I do, too. They know what it takes to get through. They're going to make the playoffs.
Nobody's crying for Boston, but they're 16 games over 500 and 6 games out of first. Do you think they've got a run left in them?
I certainly do. You know why? Because they've got great starting pitching.
Mm-hmm. Ball 4 to Figgins, and it's a wild pitch that allows Wilson to go down to third. So Carmona has been a little inconsistent here tonight. He's had flashes of brilliance, but the Mariners had 3 straight hits with 2 outs in the 4th inning that led to a run. And now they've got 2 on with 1 out here in the 5th, and Russell Brandon, who doubled off the wall his last time up, coming to the plate.
Tampa got some bad news when we were playing them just this week. A couple of their pitchers going on the
DeMond and
DL.
Davis,
yeah.
And they're built on pitching. Let's face it, they're not going to outslug too many people.
No, they're not. That's going to be tough to replace for them. They do have that young kid they called Pellickson, who has started well, but you can't count on him because he's a kid.
Shoulders.
Figgins takes off on the first pitch, and Brandon fouls it off.
Shoulders a lot different than elbows. Yeah. Shoulders, the mystery.
Right.
I'd rather have a bad elbow than a bad shoulder. Both of those kids, Davis and Neiman, both went on the deal with shoulder problems.
Well, with Texas adding Cliff Lee,
I like Texas.
They're a pretty solid team, not many holes. But all of a sudden you look around and here's the Angels. They've won 3 in a row. They crept to within 7.5.
Not going to make it.
Does Mike Scioscia have any magic left in that wand?
Not unless he's hitting.
There's a pitch up high. Thrown to second. I think they got him. They did. Figgins gunned down. Great throw by Chris Jimenez. And that's out number 2 here in the inning.
No, with the Angels, I don't know if their pitching's there. As Jimenez gets a good base steal already with 30 stolen bases, puts it right on the money. Cabrera makes the tag. That's a big out right there.
Oh, insult to injury there. Slapped right on the bill of the cap. Check swing, called a strike.
And you know who else? They're not talking about Minnesota.
Right.
Minnesota's back in first place again.
Yeah. It's a pretty good series between them and the White Sox. They're up by a game now.
Well, we see that division a lot, and their pitching was down. Minnesota's normally they're a solid ball club, and I think they'll probably win the Central. But once they get there, then you're going to end up having to play. The Yankees. They can't get through New York.
Yeah,
never. They can't get through New York. They haven't played them tough in years and years and years. So,
New York knows how to play in October.
Yes, they do.
That's the thing. Derek Jeter just, okay, boys, this is my time now.
2-2 foul right back. Well, I know they love you in Toronto. You've done the television there now for a number of years. What about when you come back to Cleveland? Do people still come up to you and they remember the good old days?
I can't tell you how many people came up to me tonight and said, boy, I used to love watching you when I was growing up. I said,
were they male or female?
Male. They looked like they were about 50. And I'm like, wait a minute, that wasn't that long ago, was it? When I was growing up, what does that make me?
Swung on and missed. Carmona blows them away. Tabby, thanks for stopping by.
Anytime,
great to catch up with you.
Anytime.
Pat Tabler with us here tonight.
Always, buddy. Always.
Indians trail the Mariners 2-1 as we go now to the bottom of the 5th inning. 2-1 Seattle. And for the Tribe, Chris Jimenez, Michael Brantley, and Asdrubal Cabrera. Jimenez driving in the Indians' only run with a 2-out RBI double in the second inning. David Pauly has settled down. The Indians had 4 hits in the first 2 frames against him. They don't have a hit since. Swung out and missed, and David Pauly has 4 strikeouts. 1 down here in the 5th inning. This recap is brought to you by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. In the first, it was an RBI groundout that scored Ichiro Suzuki with the game's first run. Tribe came back and tied it on the Jimenez RBI double off the wall in left. And then Seattle went back ahead with Casey Kochman's infield single that just ticked off the glove of Asdrubal Cabrera. And that's where we stand. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. Michael Brantley 0 for 2.
Yeah, Tabby's a good guy. He gets to, see that Eastern Division play most of the time.
The 1-1 pitch. And it's down low, 2 balls and a strike.
Well, Pauly hasn't walked anybody yet, and coming into the game, he had 11 walks in his 29 1/3 innings. He did hit a batter and has 4 strikeouts. And he's just changing speeds, about a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, little curveball at 76, and a changeup.
Brantley with a base hit, his first hit of the night. 5th hit of the night for the Tribe, and a 1-out base runner now for Asdrubal Cabrera.
That's a breaking ball right there. Little slide piece. And, he hit 2 curveballs last night off Millwood. He keeps his hands back nicely, so you try and think you're going to have him out front. He stays back on the breaking ball. I would think you'd have to try and buzz something inside to get him out because he waits.
Pitch number 70 on the night. And a swing and a miss. Cabrera fooled badly out in front. You got David Pauly on the mound, who's never faced the Indians before. And you might think, well, Carl Willis, the Mariners pitching coach, maybe he's able to give him some in-depth scouting reports on what these hitters are looking for. But he looks at this Indians lineup, and he doesn't know half the guys
that's exactly
that
right.
are here for the Tribe now.
Well, he has an idea, but, in that scouting report, he'll go over it and say, you try and do this, but you still have to go out between the lines and execute. Carl was just brought up. He was their minor league pitching coordinator throughout the spring and everything like that after getting let go last year. So he's only been here in the big leagues for what?
Couple of days. Yep. If I remember right, Rick, I think it was the off day. We had the golf tournament. I think that was the day Seattle blew everything up.
You're right.
Fired their manager, bench coach, pitching coach. There's Darren Brown, the new skipper. And he was given the interim tag, so you have to believe that he has an opportunity certainly to wow the top brass and perhaps have that interim tag removed at season's end. But you also have to think Seattle's going to be out there and looking. Bobby Valentine's already said he's interested, of course.
He's interested in every job, isn't he?
2-2 swing and a miss, throw to second base, and Brantley is in there safely. Did he stay on the bag? Yeah.
His 4th steal. But there are now 2 down. Another look at that stolen base brought to you by Saucony Shoes. Dedicated to inspiring every runner every day. At Saucony, we run.
Well, there you go. The throw was up a little bit. He did get the strikeout, but Brantley gets in there, and they keep that tag applied. He did not come off the base, although he did come close.
Hey, Josh Wilson wasn't going to take a chance.
Keep your glove there. You never know till you call timeout.
Shin-Soo Choo 1 for 2 with a single. Boy, Mariner fans really must cringe when they see Asdrubal Cabrera and Shin-Soo Choo batting 2nd and 3rd, playing prominent roles for the Indians, and knowing that the 2 guys they got in exchange for those 2 players are long gone, don't even playing baseball anymore.
I think it's like that with every team. You know, there's every team that gives up on somebody and they come up and they play well somewhere else.
Well, it happens to the Indians. You're right.
It happens to everybody.
Luke Scott was just here, for example.
Yeah, but
Luke
Scott's a DH, but you're looking at an everyday right fielder and an everyday shortstop. You can see Choo has that pad on that hand. You see the black pad on that bottom hand?
Well, you would
where
think
he was hit. Yeah,
that's
there. Like the Jeff Bagwell pad. Remember, he used to wear that because he was hit on the hand so many times.
Choo with a base hit into center field. Coming around 3rd with the tying run is Michael Brantley. Choo with a big turn at first. He'll go back and hold there. A 2-out RBI single ties the game as Choo drives in his 56th run of the year. And it's yet another 2-out RBI hit for the Tribe.
Well, he left the breaking ball. Look, it was a 1 down that Choo was able to keep his hands back, but I think it's middle of the plate. It didn't get inside, and Choo lined it into right center field. So some 2-out hitting again. Both the runs the Indians have scored have come with 2 outs. And now both teams, if you look at the line score, are identical. 2-6-0.
Wow.
Oh, that's right. Friday the 13th. It's happened twice tonight.
And they both left 4 men on base. 2-6-0-4, 2-6-0-4.
Yeah, but there's going to be the 5. He's out there.
Brown down the left field line, and it's caught by Saunders to end the inning. Tribe comes back with a run to tie it, all even after 5 innings of play. Six-pack bottles, 2 for $5 at any Northeast Ohio Mark's location.
So come into your nearest Mark's, where you'll find a huge selection at low prices every day.
Jose Lopez 0 for 2 steps in for Seattle. All even up at 2 apiece.
Swing and a miss. 1-1 to count.
Send along a very special happy birthday wish to my good friend, and he's been part of the Indians family for a long time, Freddie Heinlein. 95th birthday. Turning 95 tomorrow. Freddie, happy birthday, my friend. Hope all is well. Longtime coach.
Base hit into right field for Jose Lopez. 7th hit of the night for Seattle. And their leadoff man aboard. This is the answer to our AT&T trivia question. AT&T, rethink possible.
Got to go with what? The Bauer? And maybe a Cabrera?
Would Vladimir Guerrero be up there?
Well, let's look and see. Albert Pujols.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Vladimir Guerrero was 5th on that list at 320. All right, here's Franklin Gutierrez. Looks at the ball down low. Happy 22nd birthday wishes go out tonight to Brittany Miller. Indians fan her whole life. Used to live in Sandusky, but the family moved to Savannah, Georgia. And she's now at Georgia Southern University. So happy birthday, Brittany. Franklin Gutierrez 0 for 2 tonight. Looks at a ball in the dirt.
Can't forget our own Kelly Kelly. Is turning 33 today.
Is she really?
Yes, she is. Kelly, happy birthday to you. Carla Bergeraff of Mansfield is turning 12. And congratulations to Jim and Donna Nicholson of Wheeling, West Virginia, their 44th anniversary.
How about Ralph and Addie Workman in Shelby are celebrating their 69th wedding anniversary. Longtime avid Indians fans. So congratulations to Ralph and Addie in Shelby, and hope you had a great anniversary. Fausto Carmona with the leadoff man aboard here.
This would be a good time to start the runner. 2-1 count. Carmona, ground ball machine.
Swing and a miss. Good sinking action. 2-2 the count on Gutierrez, who is 0 for 2 tonight. Couldn't get him to go fish after that. Full count. Ripped foul just wide of the bag at third.
Well, Lopez was staying put right there, and I find that hard to believe with a tie game going into the 6th inning. You've got a full count on a hitter, and I know Lopez doesn't run well, but Carmona leads the league in inducing ground ball double plays. So you would think you want to get that runner started.
Gutierrez leads the team in strikeouts.
That's okay.
Took off that time. Gutierrez
did start him that time.
He has struck out 100 times on the year.
And he may know, because I was watching Lopez. He had a terrible jump, and if you're over there and you just have to make sure the pitcher goes home, you've got to at least start to get going to make something happen. And maybe that's why the manager, he says, I'm not going to start him because he can't run.
Yanked down the left field line. That's a fair ball. It's headed into the corner. Lopez coming around third. He's going to be waved home. Cabrera's relay to the plate. They got him again. Crow to Cabrera to Jimenez to cut down a run at the plate for the 2nd time tonight.
Yeah, Chu threw one out. Kochman out at home plate, and now this one into the corner. And even though the guy was running, that's what I'm talking about, getting a good jump if you're going to take off. Crow fielded and played it nicely, but it's 2 short throws here. And you can see Lopez lumbering in, and he's not even close. So they have had 2 men cut down at the plate, but Gutierrez hustled. He is at third base.
With 1 out, infield comes in. Casey Kochman, an infield RBI single his last time up, and out comes Tim Belcher. 88 pitches on the night. You get the right-handed hitter Adam Moore next. Tony Sipp just getting loose now in the Tribe bullpen, but again, Carmona's only made 88 pitches. Kochman came in batting just .214 on the year.
Well, the infield's in to try and cut it off. Good speed, good wheels at third base. I'm saying they're going on contact because of the speed at third base, and you're not going to, wait around. If you get an opportunity, they're a team that doesn't score a lot, so when the opportunity is there, you got to try and take advantage of it, and that's probably why they've had 2 guys thrown out at the dish. You don't hold them up.
Ground ball to second. He's not
go.
coming.
That's a shocker to me.
Donald throws him out.
That is a shocker to me, even though he may have been out at the plate.
Well, Lee Tinsley, the Mariners' third base coach tonight, he's been windmilling them around, but both times they've been out by plenty.
You don't run on that arm in right field for sure. And it's 2 short throws to left field in this ballpark. And he's out by plenty. So Seattle has run into 2 outs, and certainly that's kept them in the Indians in the ball game.
Now, is part of that a product of not scoring a lot of runs? So when you have that opportunity, you go for broke,
so.
You roll the dice?
I would think so, yes. It has something to do with it. If you hold the guy up, with 2 outs, it certainly is. But when this started the inning off with Lopez had the single and Gutierrez doubled, I mean, you don't get thrown out at home plate to make the first out there in a tie ball game. You got 3 chances. But, with 2 outs, I'd say yes. Go ahead and try and send them.
Adam Moore, swing and a miss. Evens the count at 1-1. Well, Baltimore on top of Tampa Bay 4-0 in the 5th inning down in St. Pete. The Orioles had nothing but praise for Genmar Gomez last night. Buck Showalter, who we mentioned was in the Indians organization in 2007, and he recalled after the game seeing him pitch. I believe he was in Lake County back in 2007, and he said, I liked him back then. He said last night Gomez really kept them off balance, had a good sinker. 2-1 pitch, foul tip. But it didn't slow down the Orioles much. They're right back to business tonight. And they're getting another well-pitched game so far because Tampa only has
Guthrie.
1 hit.
That's Guthrie on the mound for them tonight.
Meanwhile, Mariners have the potential go-ahead run at third base with 2 down. And a 2-ball, 2-strike count on Adam Moore. And he fights it off. Minnesota at home against Oakland tonight. Twins on top early, 2-0 over the A's. White Sox hosting Detroit. No score there in the 3rd inning. Indians began the day a game in front of Kansas City. Tribe in sole possession of 4th place in the AL Central. Royals have lost 5 in a row. 2-2. Up the middle. Donald can't grab the handle, and the Mariners will take the lead again. Boy, that is twice tonight. A ground ball has eluded an Indians infielder that cost him a run.
Well, never left the infield again. This on the backhand side. That ball gets by him. It's on the backhand. That's a play that I think should be made. That's got to be an error.
Nope, that one is. Now, the play Cabrera didn't come up with was ruled a hit. That was a tough play. He was coming all the way across the infield trying to make that. But again, both plays, you had leather on them, just couldn't come up with it. Michael Saunders, 1 for 2 with a base hit. Big chopper. Marte with the flip to Carmona. And the inning is over. But Seattle, with an unearned run, is now on top 3-2. Seattle on top. Trevor Crowe, Andy Marte, and Luis Valbuena due up for the Indians. Trevor Crowe 0 for 2 tonight. .80 pitches so far for David Pauly. 2-0 the count. Taking all the way, it looked like 2-1.
That run that was given last inning would be an unearned run.
Yep.
That'll be 56 unearned runs that the Indians have allowed in 10 when Carmona has been pitching.
Wilson on the run, throws out Crowe, 1 away. Here's our Miller Taste Greatness moment on this date back in 2006. Against the Kansas City Royals, Travis Hafner was his 6th grand slam of that season. Marte with a hard ground ball behind the bag at third. Lopez pulled him off, and Marte with a slide is safe at first. Give him a base hit. Lopez with a throw. Just a little bit high.
It was do or die. You know, he had to get over there and get rid of that ball quickly. Kochman couldn't come down with his foot on the bag, so he realized, I'm going to try and tag him. And that's one of the few times when you're a base runner you can slide to the inside. And Marte picked it up. That was a good job. You know, when you see that base runner, that's one of the few times you can go down into first base and slide when you see the first baseman coming off the bag. Those guys that run down there and go head first or something is totally crazy, but right there was a time he can do it.
Carl Willis going to make a trip to the mound here. 84 pitches on the night for David Pauly. They've got activity in that Mariner bullpen. Let's shoot it back to the studios for another in-game update. Here's Al Pulaski.
All right, man, let's go to Minnesota, where the Twins scored 2 runs in the first inning. Here with the bases loaded, a Michael Kadire single, scores Mauer. They get Kubel at third, though, so that's it. 2-0 Minnesota, second inning now at Target Field. Back to you, man.
Thanks, Al. You see right-hander Sean White loosening, and David Aardsma might be getting loose. Or either that or he's just killing time.
Yeah, he's killing time.
Normally, he's a late-inning guy. Here's Luis Valbuena with the tying run aboard. Valbuena hit by a pitch his last time up. Looks at a ball down low. Valbuena, another former Mariner. You know, it's interesting. You always wonder how teams and trades come about. And it does seem like, I don't know, certain general managers have a comfort level with other GMs when it comes to making deals. Indians have certainly made a number of trades involving the Mariners. I talked about Chu and, of course, Cabrera. And the other trade was involving Valbuena and Franklin Gutierrez that also involved Joe Smith. And that was part, I think there were 12 players. That had one of those multi-team trades at the owners'
Seattle,
meeting the year
Cleveland.
we were in Las Vegas. There were guys flying everywhere. Now the 2-2. And there's a rocket foul on the right side. And this next pitch will be number 90 for David Pauly. Valbuena continues to foul him off, but he also stays alive. What a road trip for Seattle. A 4-city, 12-game trip. This is the first.
Do you ever remember a 4-city trip?
I think we had one.
Oh, in 05 in the National League when we went. Yes,
interleague style.
That's the only one I think I can ever remember now that I.
It was when Eddie Murray was fired, I believe. Started the trip in Chicago. And Eddie Murray was fired when we were in Chicago. And then Derek Shelton came on board. And Buddy Bell had just left the team to take over in Kansas City.
Johnny Gorel.
So we had Johnny Gorel. And then Robbie Thompson eventually came on board. But that was a trip. I think we went Chicago. And then San Diego, San Francisco. And there was one other city in there. Arizona, maybe?
San Diego, San Francisco.
I think there was Colorado. A Minnesota stop in there, too.
Yeah.
We played 2 American. Anyway, they're rare. 6, 4, 3, double play. 6 complete from Progressive Field. Seattle on top, 3-2. AT.com. AT&T, rethink possible. By the Sierra from GMC. Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job. And by Wendy's. You know when it's real. Wendy's. (3-2). Mariners lead it as we go now to the 7th inning. Slider getting ready for the fireworks show.
Stays right there. He may be fired off into the sky.
or plunked by a home run ball. Josh Wilson 0 for 1, hit by a pitch his last time up. And the 1-1 is in tight. Back in 05, Rick, that trip we were talking about.
Right.
Not that anybody else cares, but for you and I anyway. It was 3 games in Minnesota, then 3 in Chicago, then 3 in San Diego, and 3 in San Francisco.
And Mike Bachta told me we had one in 02 as well.
There's a drive to deep center. Brantley can't run it down. Off the end of his glove, and into second base goes Josh Wilson.
No, that's too bad because he had a good beat on it. That'll be the 3rd double of the night for the Mariners. And, I mean, he had it right in stride. It just went off the top of his glove. It's too bad. I mean, you run all that ways as an outfielder, you want to catch it, and you can see him right at the last minute. That might have been just a hair out of his reach. He had a good route to the ball, and it was just a hair out of reach. Boy, you run that far, you certainly want to catch it. But it'll be a double, and that's going to do it for Carmona tonight.
We've got a timeout with Seattle on top, 3-2. By H.H. Gregg. Tony Sipp for the 50th time this year. Coming into a situation where he's got Ichiro Suzuki switch hitting Sean Figgins and Russell Brendan.
Yeah, for Ichiro it doesn't matter. I mean, I think he hits better off left-handers than he does right-handers. And he's just got a knack, and I'm thinking maybe Manny's thinking, maybe somehow Tony can neutralize him, or if he hits the ball, maybe hit it to third base where he can't advance the runner.
Our GMC Sierra 5-star league leaders. And Ichiro takes a strike. He is 2 for 3. Strike to the outside corner. No balls and 2 strikes. One belated birthday wish from last night. Didn't get a chance to squeeze it in. But Loretta Morgione from Youngstown celebrated her 74th birthday yesterday. Congratulations, Loretta, and hope you had a great night. Great way to kick off the weekend. 0-2 is up and in. Side armor Joe Smith loosening.
This is where you have to be careful here with Ichiro. If you just throw him that slider away, you got to throw him a good one because he'll stay back and just slap it. I'd rather see Tony go pound him inside with a fastball.
Swung out and
Good
missed.
pitch.
He struck him out.
That had great bite to it.
1 down here in the 7th inning. And Ichiro struck out for the 2nd time tonight.
That was a good slider right here. He got it down out where he couldn't reach out and just slap it. He hung in there as long as he could. But that one way out of the zone gets him to chase, and a very good pitch.
Next up is Sean Figgins, 0 for 2 with a walk. Switch hitter, turns around, bats right-handed for the first time tonight.
And he's better from this side of the plate, Matt. 293 hitter in his 140 at-bats.
But a routine bouncer to second. This will get the runner over to third, but now there are 2 down.
Well, Sunday is Kids Fun Day, and you can save big with the WKYC Summer Sunday $3 Kids offer. You buy an adult ticket, you get up to 2 tickets for kids 12 and under for just $3 each. Plus, you get to run the bases after the game, go have a good time out on the plaza before the game starts. That'll all take place on Sunday.
All right, now the kids are looking in to see if Tony Sipp can retire Russell Brandon. Keep this a 1-run game. Takes a strike. Brandon 1 for 3 with a double and a run batted in. He's also scored a run. Tribe with the shift on. Josh Wilson, the runner at third base. Fouled right back. One more belated birthday wish. James Schramm and his family were out to dinner last night celebrating his 70th birthday, so they didn't get a chance to see the game. But James, I hope you had a good birthday dinner with your family, and hope you're enjoying the game tonight. Probably enjoy it a lot better if Tony Sipp can strike out Russell Brandon right here. He's thrown 6 out of 7 pitches for strikes. That one is up high. Sipp with a 1-2. Check, but it looked like he went. Yeah, he punched him out at third. Todd Titchener said he went too far. Tony Sipp strikes out a pair, and the Mariners can't get that run home. Stretch time in Cleveland, 3-2 Seattle. New locations now open in Chagrin Falls, Solon, and Brunswick. Coming soon at Twinsburg. Log on to paninisgrill.com for a list of all their locations. Sean White coming on now for Seattle. In relief of David Pauly, who gave Seattle a terrific effort here tonight. He went 6 innings, allowing just 2 runs on 7 hits.
Didn't walk anybody.
Struck out 5.
This is where over the past 6 games, the Mariners bullpen allowed just 2 runs on 6 hits, covering 14 2/3 innings. Well, they're turning it over to that bullpen right now for 9 outs.
Jason Donald, 1 for 2 with a double and a run scored. David Pauly is in line for his first career win as a starter. 0 for 7, or 0-7, his 10 career starts. Nice glove and throw by Josh Wilson to retire Donald one away. Tonight's box score is presented by Mass Mutual. Michael Brantley, Asdrubal Cabrera, and Shin-Soo Choo in the top 3 have combined for 4 hits. The middle third, though, just 1 for 9. And then the bottom 2 hitters have helped the Tribe get on the board tonight. Well, it looks like we're getting a pinch hitter here.
Nix.
As Chris Jimenez was called back, and Jason Nix is in the on-deck circle. Chris Jimenez was 1 for 2 with a double and a run batted in tonight. So the Indians will send Nix to the plate. Talked about it before. The Indians, when it comes to pinch hitting, most of their damages have been done by Shelley Duncan, who's 5 for 13.
Well,
Nix is 1 for 5.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think his pinch hit came here in Cleveland, did it? I thought it came over in Chicago, because the only other guy that had a pinch hit for us is Hafner.
Well, yeah, Nix is 0 for 1 in Cleveland as a pinch hitter.
Exactly, and Hafner's got the only other hit. Duncan has 5 of them.
1 for 6 for Hafner. One ball and 2 strikes the count here for Jason Nix as the Indians try to get something rolling here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Breaking ball, strike 3 called. 2 down.
Well, it's time for Mezzanine Madness. You spend $50 or more at any Indians team shop or merchandise concession stand and receive a voucher good for 2 mezzanine tickets to any Indians game the rest of the season.
Michael Brantley takes a strike. He is 1 for 3 tonight. He singled, stole a base, and scored the Tribe's last run in the 5th inning. Swinging a hot bat here of late, though. 7 hits for Brantley in his last 15 at-bats. Fastball hit on the ground to first. Kochman will go to the bag himself. Indians go in order. And we go to the 8th, 3-2 Seattle.
The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Eighth inning, 3-2 Mariners on top. Tribe goes back to the bullpen as Joe Smith comes on. Tony Sipp did his job retiring all three that he had faced.
He sure did. He did a great job.
In fact, if you go back to last night, as you see Lou Marson taking over behind the dish, Rafael Perez, Chris Perez, and now Tony Sipp have combined to throw 42 consecutive pitches out of the bullpen, 35 strikes.
Well, when they get in their groove, and we've seen them in that like that a couple of times, it's very good. But right now, the good is happening when you're down a run. Their offense has to come back and try and get on that board.
Lopez with the bouncer to short as Drupal Cabrera can take his time, throw him out one way. Back to the studios for another in-game update. Al has the latest on the Boston Red Sox and the Texas Rangers.
Matt, things were looking good for Texas early on in this game. They were ahead 2-0, but then Jed Lauer hits a solo homer in the 3rd. Then Ortiz, Beltry, and Drew follow with solo homers in the 4th. Just like that, Boston now leads Texas 4-2, 4th inning in Arlington.
All right, thanks, Al. Here it's 3-2 Seattle. Franklin Gutierrez looks at a strike. Brandon League starting to heat up for Seattle. Popped into center. Going out is Donald. Second baseman has it 2 away.
A Tribe game at Progressive Field, perfect choice for a unique and exciting outing for your group. Special discounts are available for groups of 25 or more, up to 50% off every ticket for select games. Call 216-420-HITS.
Bouncing ball to first. Marte goes himself. It's a quick 1-2-3 8th inning. Mariners on top 3-2. We'll see if the Indians' bats can try to rally from behind here tonight. Another pitching change for Seattle. Brandon League on for the 53rd time this year. He has 9 holds for Seattle. Tied for 6th in the American League with 52 relief appearances. And he also has 8 wins out of that Mariner bullpen.
Well, over his last 12 appearances, Matt, he's 3-0, has 3 holds, and has allowed only 10 hits and 1 run in 14 2/3 innings.
He'll be facing Asdrubal Cabrera, Shin-Soo Choo, and Jordan Brown here in the Tribe half of the 8th inning. Inside, 2-0. The former Blue Jay right-hander fires it in there, 2-1 the count. Stay tuned after the game tonight for Chuck's Last Call, presented by PNC Bank. He'll take calls and emails after the Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care post-game show. Asdrubal Cabrera starts the bottom of the 8th with a base hit in the left center field. And the Indians get their leadoff man aboard for the first time tonight.
League comes in and throws him a good fastball. You can see it's at 96, but look at the location. Cabrera goes the other way, sits on it, and gets the base knock. That's 2 hits for Cabrera tonight. And number 8 for the Indians. So there's the tying run aboard.
And Shin-Soo Choo, 2 for 3 with 2 singles and a run batted in. After having a miserable series against Baltimore, he's found his stroke again here against the Mariners.
Well, you think anything his former team has anything to do with it? Pumps you up a little bit more, gets the juice flowing?
I don't know. I wouldn't think so. It's been a couple of years now.
I know, but anytime you face your former
Still,
team,
it's there, huh?
it's there. It really is. I mean, it's like, yes, it is.
Like an old girlfriend that broke your heart. Doesn't go away, does it?
That's one way of putting it, yes.
There's a foul back by Choo.
Well, you know, you're drafted, you're there, you start. I mean, that's your right where you started from, man. Your foundation. When you get a chance to play against them, you never forget it. You always want to do good. Say, see, I'll show you what you traded away.
The 1-1 pitch. And it's outside, 2 balls and a strike. Well, how about that? Chu has owned the league 3 for 3 in his career. And the 2-1. Down and in. 3 balls and a strike. Jordan Brown waits on deck. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Cabrera ready to bolt at first base. He holds, and the 3-1 pitch is lined to deep left. Back goes Saunders, and he'll make the catch. The ball kind of ran out of steam once it got down near the corner. And that's a big first out right there for League to retire Chu, especially on a 3-1 count.
Yes, it is. And they had their left fielder playing close to the line in the left field with the left-handed hitters of the Indians. I know Brown made an out there, and he was playing close to the line there. Cabrera.
Well, Jordan Brown 0 for 3 tonight. And he takes a first pitch strike. Sports Time Ohio and McDonald's are giving you the chance to attend the Indians game September 23rd and an opportunity to visit us right here in the STO broadcast booth. Register now at stohd.com. Runner started to go as Drupal Cabrera had about 2 or 3 big strides, and then he stopped. I don't know if he just didn't like his jump.
I think that could be it. You know, because you're not going to put a hit and run on with 1 out. Maybe he was off and running. If he had a jump, he could go. But, you know, Cabrera's not a base stealer. You know, he's not quick enough.
Now Brown is down on the count 0-2 with 1 out here in the 8th. Now he's going. And Brown pops it to left. Saunders again, almost the same spot. And he's got it 2 away. That'll bring up Trevor Crow, who is 0 for 3 tonight. Saturday, August 21st at 7:30 p.m. The Browns will host the St. Louis Rams. Don't miss your first chance to see the 2010 Browns live at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Tickets start as low as just $35. Call 440-824-3434 or visit clevelandbrowns.com for more information. Runner at first with 2 down. First pitch strike to Crow. Brandon League gave up the leadoff hit to Cabrera, but then back-to-back fly ball outs to left. And the 1-1, nope, and turning a lob toss over to first.
That's called over from the bench when you see that 5 down there. It's a throw to first base.
And a ground ball to short. That'll end the inning. We go to the 9th. 3-2 Seattle. field. Justin Germano. Let's see if he can continue this incredible Indians relief pace. How about you go back to last night? So you got Rafael Perez, Chris Perez, and then tonight Tony Sipp and Joe Smith combined 47 pitches, 42 strikes.
Wow, that's what you call pounding the strike zone, my
one
friend.
after another another. And Germano with a big overhand curve misses up high, ball one. Shatters the bat, and a slow roller to short. Cabrera still had time. He had time to wait for the barrel of the bat to settle, then get the ball, and then throw out Adam Moore. Luckily, it was the catcher running. But I'm sure if you're Cabrera and you see the barrel coming at you, you're going to lay back a little bit.
That's exactly right. You should. When you see it fly like that, you make sure that thing's going to land softly before you run into it. There it is. He knew it. And that's also knowing the speed of the runner.
Yeah. I was always impressed with Omar Vizquel's ability to know exactly who was running, and he always seemed to make it. Yeah, he took just enough time. Could be a slow guy, a fast guy, but he'd get him by a step.
And, sometimes he'd throw it harder. Sometimes he wouldn't put as much on it. Yeah, that's all part of knowing defense and playing the game as an infielder, knowing the speed of the runner, know who will, get down the line consistently every time.
Michael Saunders, 1 out of 3 with a base hit in the 4th inning. And that's ball 4. So Germano with a 1-out walk to Saunders.
Just the second walk tonight. Carmona had one in his 6 innings.
Josh Wilson with a double, a ground out, and he's been hit by a pitch. Some surprising pop, though. He hit that ball over the head of Michael Brantley in center field. His last time up.
Well, I always used to feel that if a guy hits the ball over your head, it's not your fault. It's that pitcher's fault for giving him too good of a pitch to hit. But if it stays in the park, I also used to felt I should have caught it.
Now the 1-0 pitch. Runner goes. And it's hit the right field. Perfectly executed. Saunders goes to third.
Well, you talk about bat control. It's done beautifully right there. I mean, they start the runner, and he didn't do anything. He just tried to serve it that way. And he does a good job. Look at this. Just stayed inside the baseball. Didn't really try to hit it in the air. It ended up going in the air, but that's done to perfection right there, first and third. Now there's that insurance run out there with Ichiro. And this is a tough guy to double up, my friend, so you just better hope for an out. Unless he hits, a one-hopper right at somebody. And they just may even look home.
Check swing, called strike. Suzuki had an infield hit and scored a run in the first. Then he had a base hit in the 3rd inning. Struck out in the 5th, struck out in the 7th. 3 runs on 10 hits for Seattle, 2 runs, 8 hits for the Indians. And a good curveball in for a strike. 0-2. The runner at third base, Michael Saunders. Josh Wilson is at first. Infield in. Swung out and missed. He struck him out. Big strikeout for Justin Germano.
Boy, you're not kidding.
Ichiro has the hat trick with 3 straight Ks.
You do not see that happen often, where he strikes out 3 times in a ball game, but he came right back with a good curveball. I like what Marson did there. Got ahead of him with the hard stuff, and then that good curveball. And Germano has a good one, but he got him to chase this one. Figured he'd try and put it in play, and he goes down for the 3rd straight time.
Boy, and that's big.
Yes, it is.
With a runner at third base and only 1 out. Now they're at the corners with 2 down. Sean Figgins 0 for 3, the batter. But just as important for Germano to bear down and get Figgins. Ground ball. Marte with a backhanded stab. Goes to the bag. And a tremendous job of Justin Germano getting out of a serious jam there. He keeps it a 1-run game. Bottom of the 9th coming up. And last of the 9th, here in Cleveland, the Indians will send Andy Marte, Luis Valbuena, and Jason Donald to the plate. David Aardsma coming on for the 42nd time this year, looking for his 23rd save.
Now, since July 11th, he is 6 for 6 in save opportunities. That covers 11 outings. So they've been trying to get him on track. He was not the same guy that they knew last year.
Andy Marte 1 for 3 tonight. And a fastball strike. And a breaking ball in for a strike. Marte chops it foul. David Aardsma pitched in the big leagues with San Francisco, the Cubs, the White Sox, the Red Sox. Now in his second year in Seattle.
Yeah, found a home in Seattle.
Swung on and missed. He gets a strikeout, 1 down. Stay tuned after the ball game for the Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care post-game show. We'll have the highlights. And we'll also get you ready for Game 2 in this 3-game weekend series between the Indians and the Mariners. It's all straight ahead. Luis Valbuena looks at a strike. It's hard to believe, Rick, that a guy with the arm of a David Artsman hasn't been able to find a home up until now.
You know, I mean, in that closer's role, you know how tough it can be and how delicate it is. I don't know if it took him a while to develop a mentality until he got to Seattle or what it was, or the right surroundings.
Foul down the left side.
You know, when you look at the bullpen coach, John Wetland, here in Seattle, who's a former closer with the Yankees, the Rangers, and a good one. You know, you don't know if that mentality wore off, you know, where he might have been able to teach him something.
Mm-hmm. Struck him out looking. Valbuena doesn't like the call. He's barking at Eric Cooper. And while Valbuena's had a bad year offensively, he might have had a legitimate beef there. 2 down. Take another look. Well,
if that box is there, I don't know where.
Probably too close to take. That's the bottom line there.
2 strikes it is.
Yeah. We'll get a pinch hitter here. It's going to be Shelley Duncan. At first glance, I'll just say at first glance, it did look like it was high. On the replay, it was a little closer to borderline, I guess. Shelley Duncan will try to keep it alive for the Tribe. We talked about it earlier. He's been their best pinch hitter. And he took a big hack, came up empty. A little bit low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Down too low. If Seattle hangs on to win this game, it will be the 71st time this year they've scored 3 runs or less. Duncan with a high drive into right center field, but not deep enough. Ichiro Suzuki will grab it, and the Indians go 1-2-3. Tribe beaten in the opener of this series by a final score tonight of 3-2. The winning pitcher tonight is David Pauley, and congratulations to the Mariners right-hander. It's his first major league victory. He's now 1-4 on the year. The save to David Artsman, his 23rd. The losing pitcher is Fausto Carmona, and a tough luck loss for him tonight. He drops to 11-10 on the season. With the win, Seattle is 45-71. The loss drops the Indians to 48-68 on the year. We're back. Time now for the play of the game. It's brought to you by Key Bank. Switch to Key and get a free Sony Bloggy. Visit key.com/bloggy for details.
Well, you go in there, and there it is, a backhanded play that Jason Dowell couldn't hold on to. That cost him a run. That was the 3rd run of the ball game, an unearned run. It ends up costing him a ball game right there. That's too bad. Carmona upset. That's 10 unearned runs he has allowed this year. That's going to be our Key Bank key play of the game.
So the Indians basically got a taste of Seattle's medicine. Not much offense, and they fall.